Hi guys, welcome to another episode of CP4SA, and on today's episode we're going to be talking all things law with a very good friend. I'd like you all to welcome Lungile. Welcome Lungile.
Thank you for having me, Tabang. I'm finally here.
Finally.
After speaking about this for how long now? How many months? I'm finally here, so yeah.
Yeah, but well, you're the first one to be shot out of our new studio. So
I'm so happy. I feel honored to be gracing this space today.
No, that's awesome. Look, I, like many people, have considered the thought of doing law from a very young age, and I think, when you see it on TV and the way it's portrayed, a lot of people consider law at least. Do you maybe want to tell us why you saw yourself in law?
I think for me, seeing myself in law was a bit by chance. I didn't grow up saying I want to be a lawyer. I wanted to be all kinds of things growing up. And then when I got into high school, started doing debating, I was like, okay, this is for me. And when you do career tests in high school and they test your personality, for me it was definitely a legal sort of route that I had to take. And I just eliminated myself from sciences and accounting and whatever. I was like, yeah, I can do that, but it's not what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I thought, let me do law. That way I can do, if I want to venture into anything else, sciences or accounting or whatever, then I can do it, but through a legal platform. So for me, that's why I studied law, basically.
And what was your journey to get to where you are?
Yo, it's been a long journey. So obviously, it started in high school. A lot of people they don't know what subjects to take in order for them to be lawyers. And the truth is, you just have to have good languages. But personally, I think the fact that I did business studies helped me. I think if you do history, it would help you. So anyway, I didn't do history. I took physics and bio because I thought we have to do something medicine related. Then I went to University of Pretoria, did my LLB for 4 years, did articles for 2 years. Then I got admitted as an attorney. Then I studied to become a notary. Then I became admitted as a notary. And then this was until January of this year when I decided, look, being an attorney is nice, but I want to be an advocate. So now I'm doing pupillage, which I'm going to do throughout this year. And then from end of the year towards next year, I'll be an advocate officially.
Okay, so there's lawyers, there's advocates, and there's attorneys.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
So the difference is that the term lawyer, I think, encapsulates everybody.
Okay.
So if you're an advocate or an attorney or a legal advisor, you're a lawyer, right? And then with an attorney, the difference between that and an advocate is attorneys deal directly with clients. So attorneys would be the ones who have people coming in from outside, or a business or a government department or whatever you have as a client will be in touch with an attorney, and then an attorney will brief an advocate to come in to bring a certain special skill. Mostly it's for court appearances. Then an advocate would come in. There's been a new legislation that came out, I think in 2014-ish, the Legal Practice Act, which has kind of blurred those lines a little bit. But I think just to keep it clean, let's just say that's the difference. So yeah, that's basically the difference. I think you can think of it, it's not completely accurate, but if you think about it, it's like the difference between a GP and a dermatologist. They're both doctors, but they serve different purposes. The one is more specialized than the other, basically.
Sorry, and I suppose this next bit is not necessarily controversial, but South African law.
Yeah.
I think South Africans are not very happy reporting cases and so on, because they feel like once they've gone through that process, it's not always, you don't always see the result. You see people back on the street very quickly. In your opinion, where do you think the problem in that process lies?
Well, it depends what you mean by cases. If, let's say, for example, it's like a domestic violence type of thing, right? Look, I think the thing about law is that law and the society, they overlap. So law is, I think, a reflection of what society actually is. So people don't report cases because the two are interlinked and they influence each other. So sometimes you find that people are not readily available to go and report a case of domestic violence because they're scared of what society is going to say, because they're scared of what the police are going to say, because they don't think that the justice system will prevail in their case. And I understand why, because obviously sometimes you see a lot of cases go wrong, and my boyfriend beats me today, tomorrow he's in my house again, type of thing. You see that a lot. But I would say, notwithstanding what you see in society, law is something that's very much alive, and I think people must still go and report the cases and ensure that everything is recorded. It's very important in law that everything that you do in your life, there's some kind of a paper trail, a record or something. So with everything that you do, it's not even just about your criminal cases, but even with your commercial cases. If I say to you, Tabang, I'm going to sell you my car for 10 rand, it's a good idea for you to say, oh yeah, Lungi, via WhatsApp, you said you'd sell my car, So the law is changing, the law is evolving a lot. So I think society needs to assist it in its evolution. So definitely report it, definitely take part in it, because whether you report it or not, the truth of the matter is you still have your rights. So you might as well use them.
Yeah, I remember back when I was single, staying alone. My biggest fear. Funny enough, I mean, there was no basis for it, but I was always scared that I don't have an alibi, because when you watch these TV shows, you realize that if I stay alone, if I was ever blamed of anything, my only story is, well, I was home alone, nobody saw me, no one called or anything like that. But I think the question I have for you is, how well represented is your profession by the TV shows that we see, like Suits, Law and Order? Because that's honestly what inspires a lot of people to want to do law. Or maybe even South African shows, because we've had
we've had a few South African shows. Look, insofar as any kind of TV program that you've seen from outside of South Africa, it's definitely not the same in the country. Okay, they are much more sensationalized. There's much more drama. You don't perform like you perform in America in South African courts. It just doesn't cut it. In terms of South African shows, I think they try, but they miss a lot of things. And I mean, the issue that I had, recently I was in a courtroom, and I could see that the way in which the person who was representing themselves is based on something that they probably saw on TV. And it wasn't assisting the person in any way. And I think it's time that South African TV programs that have an element of law, a courtroom, or something, I think it's time that they actually portray those things according to what they factually are. And perhaps that's not as entertaining as people think, but I think it's very important to be educational about it. Things that you see on TV is not like they are in a courtroom. There's much more order, there's much more preparation. There's a way for everything. So I think it's not portrayed the same way, even in South African television shows. And I think it's definitely something that TV producers, actresses, actors, whoever's involved in the whole business, they need to definitely change it, and so that it becomes more of an educational thing than an entertaining thing. The entertainment must be there, of course, but there must be a good balance of it.
I suppose then another thing which I always wonder about is for people that have had to defend let's say someone that's done a bad crime, because my question is always, how do you do that? Like, how do you take the emotion out of it and try to make a person not guilty based on procedure and so on, even if you know that maybe the acts have been performed by that particular individual? What kind of person is able to do that?
Well, let me tell you, being a lawyer, an attorney, advocate, whatever, is just as much as having any other kind of job. So, there are going to be a few cases that you feel are personal to you because of one other reason and because you're human. But I think it's definitely it's a professional thing. Literally, you just it's a job. It's like doctors who have to switch off machines or whatever. It's a job. You of course have to be an ethical person to be a lawyer and to represent your clients. You have to be an ethical person, you have to be honest, you have to be fit and proper. But that doesn't take away from the fact that this person is your client. And South African law recognizes rights for everybody, including somebody who's arrested. Somebody who is arrested has the benefit of being presumed to be not guilty until they are proven guilty. When they are arrested, they have a right to not be incarcerated or in detention for more than 48 hours. You know what I'm saying? So yes, you could have somebody that has done something wrong, but that person still has rights, and your job as their legal practitioner, their legal representative, is for you to protect their rights, regardless of what that person did or did not do.
Yeah, I'll drop that one because it could potentially get very
I know.
Yeah, but I think so. Personally, I, as a geologist, I did take it upon myself early in my career to do a few law certificate courses. Introduction to law, prospecting law, because it really helped my career and understanding some of the things that we come across. What's your take on people having a basic understanding of law for everyday life to be able to just get by?
I think it's important for everybody to know the sort of laws that govern their profession and the laws that govern their everyday lives. You don't need to go in depth. There's lots of legal education these days, so you definitely need to expose yourself to the laws that govern the profession you're in, the laws that govern your sectional title, the house rules and every single law that affects it, because it's very easy for people's rights to be abused. So it would be to your benefit for you to learn those laws. But having learned those laws, it's important also to affiliate yourself with somebody who actually is an attorney or an advocate, to just check in with them every now and again, because at the end of the day, you can know your prospective laws, but you don't know that they border onto other laws that you may not be aware of. So sometimes it's important to check in. It's important to have a lawyer where you have a legal issue coming. It's pointless for you to do one introduction to law course, come to court and then say, yes, I'm here to defend myself, I'm being sued by the municipality or whatever. So I think, yes, it's important for you to know your rights and the laws that govern your immediate space, but definitely have a friend. have an attorney or somebody. And the tricky thing about that is that law is not a very cheap profession. So in as much as I'm saying have an attorney, have a friend, whatever, it's expensive, in the sense that we joke about it all the time with my colleagues. We can't afford ourselves because it's just so expensive. But there's a lot of pro bono offices that are around the country where you can go and check in with them on one question or two and see how they can assist you.